see Sharon here with a smile on her face, so tell me, why is spiritual exploration or spirituality so important to you?
Well, the first thing is we have freedom to do it. We have freedom to do this without anybody, knocking on our door or giving us, telling us we have to be like everybody else and all of that. That number one, that's like the most freeing experience to have it all. Just it's wonderful. So, and then I can study as little or as much as I want, and I can learn everything I can to improve myself and be a better human being and be a better all-around person in every way. And it's just the most freeing, wonderful feeling. And I feel like well, the other thing too is I'm exactly right where I'm supposed to be right now, and at my own pace, and I don't, like I said, the best part of it is that I'm not cookie cutter or, into something that someone says I should be. Because otherwise I would, if I liked that life, I'd be somewhere else, but I don't. So this is it's a wonderful, freeing feeling to be able to have that.
Good. And let me see, I'll pick on one more. How about you, Beth?
So it's important to me because I finally feel like I'm in an environment that nurtures me, and I no longer have any reason to feel like a fish out of water.
Good. Good. So let's go a little deeper. The higher applications of spirituality require your imagination and your intuition. Both play an important role in developing, or actually in your development as a holistic being. And that's what you are becoming when you follow the path of spirituality. Not just in word or in book, but when you follow the path of spirituality, you are becoming a holistic being. And by holistic being, you're not only developing your emotions, your intellect, you're also developing your body. You're learning to be comfortable in your body. You will be discovering that nothing is written in stone. Nothing about you is written in stone. The way you think will change. How you feel will change. Well, we know that. But you won't feel angry all the time, as I did in my younger days. Constantly angry, and this anger, persona. I'm sure Connie can attest to that. She knew me in those days. We all have our dark periods. And we're supposed to have those dark periods because it's part of us. So we get to know it. And during the meditation, I was reminded that I need to include that in our toolbox. So that's something I'll add to my list. So essentially, the route to your spiritual enlightenment is to discover the ultimate meaning of life. And as we said earlier, the ultimate meaning of life that you discover is going to be your own. It's going to be your own. And it should be different from somebody else's. Oh, you can like what they say and incorporate it, but you have to make it yours. And when you make it yours, you reshape it. You change it. That's what you are supposed to do. If you look at nature, that's what nature does. You look at these pictures of these abandoned towns out west or in the mountains or wherever, and you'll see that nature has crept in. Nature didn't go to the trouble of knocking the buildings down or anything. Nature just made them part of herself. And that's exactly what you learn to do. You learn to make everything a part of yourself. So, any questions so far? Any comments or thoughts? So, let me see here. You ready for a break?
Not yet.
No?
Are you?
Are you? Yeah.
I know when my end time's at. And this is going to be a relatively short class because it's just the introduction. So I don't know if any of you have taken the time to read the material, because I think I sent it out to everybody. So, this is, we're going to go into the religion, and I figured this would be a good time to ask if anybody had any questions so far about spirituality in general, or if you have some other questions that are a little more particular. Okay, nobody wants to take a break, so we'll move forward then. So let's talk a little bit about religion. And religion has become a dirty word because people are moving away from religion more than you would think, more than what you see playing out on television. Because you have to keep in mind, news focuses on one thing. Fear. They want to make you afraid. That is their job. Because if you become afraid, you're going to want to know more. And then they're going to make you even more afraid. That's their job. Best thing I can recommend for you is to just read the headlines. You can pretty much get all you need to know just by looking at the headlines. All I do. But news is not the only one that seeks to instill fear in us. The reason we associate ourselves with religion is to gain an understanding of what we call God or the divine. Does that make sense? Many of you started off in religion. Why did anybody start off in religion besides it's what my dad did? And I was trying to be just like him before I discovered I was supposed to be me.
There's something a powerless child and siblings were forced to do every Sunday.
Okay, you were forced to.
Until they were 18 and a half.
I got Sandy right in front of me. Were you involved in religion per se?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We went to Sunday school, every week. And, I'm thinking about it and thinking back. I wasn't really averse to it. And I don't remember feeling particularly fearful. not to the point where I was terrified or anything like that. I mean, it was basically your pre-fundamental Protestantism, okay, before it became, it turned into something else, it morphed into something else. But when we were children, it was not, it wasn't as fervent and focused on making everyone afraid. So they stayed, so they towed the line and stayed in line. It wasn't like that. It was kind of freer. Don't you think, Sharon? And when I was a child, it wasn't until I got older that I saw that other side, that negative, overtly negative side of it, which, made me want to run in the other direction, which I did. So, I guess I can't say that my early life, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that it was necessarily a bad thing or a fearful thing. Right, Sharon? Do you think that?
Yeah,
I mean, in our situation?
We went to Sunday school, but then we also, I don't know if they do this in other bigger cities, but we went to church on a Monday afternoon.
Religious instruction.
This instruction, and they got out of school an hour early. And you walked to, but we went, this was the interesting thing, is we went to a Lutheran church for the religious instruction day. And had a class there. And we did that probably until 8th grade.
So it was only in grammar school that you did that. That was a big deal back in the late 50s, early 60s. And it was, and a lot of, I think it was because Catholic churches had it too. Didn't Catholic churches have it?
Probably.
I don't remember, but we weren't Lutheran, but we went to a Lutheran. And we loved it, right?
Loved it. It was fun.
Yeah.
Sang hymns. Had a lesson. I don't remember the lesson. I just remember the songs.
I always remembered the songs.
Yeah. Onward, Christian Soldiers. That was one that they used to play a lot. I'm sure you remember that one, Beth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember they used to play that a lot, but it never bothered us going until we got to high school. And the church that we belonged to, which was a Presbyterian church, had a younger minister, rather progressive, and I don't know if they were giving him a hard time, but he left. And the guy they brought in was about as Baptist as you could be. He wasn't anything like what we liked. And I stopped going, Sandy stopped going. He didn't like it, not care for him at all. And that was the end of my church going. Presbyterian church going days.
Yeah.
And then I got involved in the spiritualism classes that my grandmother had in her house, in her apartment. And when we got married in the spiritualist church. So, and I got married when I was 20. So we're only talking about, 6 years, 5 years of the downfall of the Presbyterians, the rising of the spiritualism. So, yeah.
Religion on the whole, there's nothing wrong. In fact, I encourage it. It's when we get into the doctrines and such that things change.
Right.
So for many of us, the desire began with some type of mystical experience. Do you know what I mean by mystical experience? Okay, what do I mean, Beth?
Well, it's an experience outside your realm of day-to-day living. And you feel it, you know it's unusual, you know you're the only one having it. And and it either leaves you afraid or wondering. At least me.
Right. Leaves you afraid or wondering. And it all has to do with your view of the world. And of course, your view of the world is not going to include Washington, D.C., or Russia, or North Korea, or China. Your view of the world is going to be your work, the people you associate with, your family. There's your world. That's your world. That's what shapes your worldview. Religion as a whole it has value. It provides you with purpose. It can provide you with structure. And structure is, believe it or not, it's very important to your development and to who you are and to how you get through the day. Anybody who says that they don't like structure and they like mixing things up all the time is living a confused life. And I've seen it. But at the same time, if it works for them, fantastic. It does not work for me. And I'll tell you something. When my brain did its thing, which I suspect it was a brainstem stroke, it was the structure that I had laid out that got me through the experience. Structure is just a fancy word for habits. And we all know what habits are. Our habits are important to us. No. I've always done it this way, and I will always do it this way. It's going to stay. And how is that written in stone? You put it in stone. And that's the thing we have to beware of. When we put stuff in stone. And many of us do it. We don't even realize that we're doing it until somebody points it out. So mystical experiences have been recorded throughout all cultures, all time. We are pre-wired for mystical experiences. I'm not talking about sitting in meditation and having an experience during meditation. I'm talking about walking down the street and all of a sudden everything is brighter. Or this thought comes to mind and all you can do is stop and wonder, where did that come from? And it just changes your whole perspective of life. I'm out jogging and this thought comes to mind, and we've got the presidential thing going on, so I'm not wandering into politics per se, but I'm jogging and this thought comes to mind. Everybody is so worried about somebody being a liar, a thief, and everything else, when they should be focused on responsible spending. So where did that come from? Responsible spending. You know where the government gets their money from? Exactly. They get it from you. How many of you would run your checkbook in the red and keep it in the red? You can't. But the government can. The government does. We're looking at our politicians for values and guidance and everything where we should be telling them, hey, what do you mean you're going off on this trip? That's my money you're taking. No. When I had to do research into this, I think it was policies. I don't know if it was in the associate's program or in the bachelor's program. But I read an article that in Japan, those politicians and businessmen who misuse used funds were shamed. It kept their corruption under control. Of course, in the United States, people like that are applauded. Go figure. But it's these types of experiences that I'm talking about. These experiences that just suddenly overwhelm you and cause you to stop. It's these experiences that got Sharon and Sandy to spiritualism. It's these experiences that got me delving into the occult, because there's got to be something better than this. There's no way can somebody be controlling me because I don't like that. These are the types of experiences that move us in a direction. Not necessarily these experiences that we have when we meditate. And we're going to take a break. 10 minutes sound good?
Sure.
Or do you want one shorter?
Sure.
5 minutes is
Five
good.
is good.
5 is good. Okay.
Is 5 okay
Shorter
for
it
you
is.
guys?
Okay, 5's good.
All right. Take a 5-minute break, stretch your legs and everything.